Ladies, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Tola. If you're new here, you can call me Tola. Everybody calls me Tola. So today we are going to be talking about my journey and our journey as a family here in the village. You guys know around this time last year I took you through our whole relocation journey. You guys, I can't even believe I'm saying it myself, and I can't believe how fast time has flown. But yes, you guys, it has almost been a year. As a matter of fact, in a couple of days it will be a year that we have been in the village, like living in the village. And while it has been an exciting journey, there are obviously some things that I absolutely love about this place, and then there's been some things that that I don't really like about the village and the experience of living in the countryside here in the UK. Obviously I will probably make a detailed video of how I want to compare living in the city and living in the village. But yeah, I'm just going to give you an overview in this video here today. So that's what today's video is about. So I literally just got back from work, and that explains the tired face. But regardless of still, I have to make this video tonight because I just have to pass this information across. These are my opinions, by the way. How's everyone doing? Before we get into today's video, please permit me to say small market. This video is proudly sponsored by US Bags. Don't mind the courier service. They destroyed my box in transit, but it didn't take away from the bag that is inside of this box. It's not the box that I said I'm really after. So they've sent me this really lovely Dior bag. Anyway, this is what the bag looks like. It is a really lovely saddle bag. This is a saddle bag from Christian Dior. This is how the bag came, really well made. This is a one-to-one replica company. The bag came with its own dust bag as well as some other details in there, like the original receipt as well as a certificate of authenticity. The bag that this comes with is a customized dust bag, just to be able to keep and care for your bag, obviously to preserve the life of the bag if you're going to be traveling or storing it for future use or regifting, So yeah, this is what the bag looks like. There is a magnet on this flap, only this flap. This one just bears the emblem, the logo of the bag. This is what the bag looks like inside. There's a customized patch here, and it is quite roomy. It takes quite a few things. I may have to carry this bag out, but I love it, and I'm saving it for a special occasion. Anyway, you guys, to tell you about the quality of the bag, like all of this is one-to-one replica, which means that it is exactly like the original Dior bag. It also has a flap here just for easy access to maybe your phone or your credit cards or things like that, your house keys, something like that. Anyway, this is what the bag looks like. I absolutely love the bag. I feel like it would pair really nicely with a nude outfit or a black and white outfit or an all black outfit or an all beige outfit. You get the vibe. And it's really easy to style. I love the gold hardware that it comes with. It's really nice and well made. It comes in a number of colors as well. I think there is about 7 or 8 colors that I've seen so far. There might be more, but yeah, that's the bag. And thank you again to US Bags for sponsoring this segment of the video, you guys. The link to their website will be in the description box below. I'll also be styling this bag and get to show you in subsequent vlogs, so stick around for that. Anyway, you guys, so the gist of today's video, I'm just going to be making a quick comparison between living in the village and living in the city. Obviously, this video is long overdue, and I sincerely apologize to anyone who has been expecting this update, because I did promise to make this update a while back, but I had to be sure of the information that I'm putting out there, and I didn't just want it to be a few months into the village and I'm already comparing it to the city. So that's what today's video is about. First off, let's talk about the bills, okay, because that's very important. It should be a serious matter to address first. To compare the bills in the village here and the bills in the city, let's start from the basic, which is rent. The most expensive bill that you're going to pay household wise is rent. In the city we used to live, for those who are new here, we used to live in Darlington, and we were staying in a 2-bedroom apartment, but the 2-bedroom was more or less a 3-bedroom apartment because it had 2 living rooms, and I converted one of them to my study area slash work from home office space. So I had like a 3-bedroom. So it was really good for the price. It was really big, and I loved the house. I had some things that I didn't like about it so much. Obviously, the EPC rating. EPC is just the energy rating of the house. It was really low, and it obviously added to the bill because it's an old house. It was moldy. We had problems with mold. We had quite a few things that were, bothering us in the house. So yeah, it was one of the reasons why we're very intentional about the kind of houses we wanted to go for in the future. And when we were looking, we found this place, and it ticked a lot of the boxes for us. It ticked all the boxes. It didn't tick all the boxes, but it ticked most of the boxes. All right, so that's just a backstory on the house that we were living in before, and when we were moving, it was just some things that we were not going to compromise on when it came to the details or the features that the house had. All right, so back in Darlington, it was a 2-bed, 2 sitting rooms, 1 bathroom, and it didn't have a very nice backyard. I hated the backyard. It was one of the things that I didn't like about the house at all, and I rarely showed it in any of my vlogs because it was my least favorite place in the house. Yeah, so apart from the backyard and the fact that the EPC rating for the house was really, really poor, those are one of the things that I didn't really like about it. Alright, so rent wise, we were paying less than £500 for that particular house, and it was a really good deal because compared to some other parts of Darlington that were quite pricey, I mean, the rent was okay, it was alright. Now moving down to the village, it was a lot more, and I would say that's because we moved to a place that is closer to London. I've said this in a number of my videos in the past that the closer you are to London, the more expensive it's going to be. For this year, we've paid close to ×2 of what we were paying in Darlington. Bear in mind that this house is a 2-bedroom as well. It has 1 living room and 1 bathroom. It has a nicer backyard, and the house is generally newer compared to the house in Darlington. So the EPC rating for this house is a lot better than the one in Darlington. Okay, so that's one thing that you want to look out for when you're house hunting and when you're looking for apartments, either in the future to buy or to rent. Paying less than £900 for this current house that we're staying, and that is a huge amount of money compared to what we were paying. That's like ×2 of what we're paying in Darlington. Okay, so that's that for the rent. When it comes to the bills, electricity bills in Darlington, this is where things got different. All right, so in Darlington we used to get billed for gas and electric bills together, and in Darlington we were paying roughly around 170, 160 sometimes, depending on how we use electricity during the winter months. So there was a time where we got subsidy for our electric bills, and at that time the subsidy used to cover about £60 of the entire bill, so we're only paying around £70 for a couple of months while the subsidy lasted. All right, so that was that for electric bills. Bear in mind that that is gas and electric bills together for Darlington. Here in West Beach, things are a lot different because I was one of the striking things I told you about the houses here in the village. If you guys remember from when I showed you around when we were moving here newly, I showed you the kerosene tank at the back of the house, and that's what's in place of the gas. So in Darlington we had gas and electric bills paid together. We had the gas and electricity supplied by the same company, so we're paying the bills to that company. Here in the village things are a lot different because the kerosene tank is what is the gas for this house. It's not like that for every single house here in the village, bear in mind. It's just what's peculiar to this neighborhood. Okay, so everyone I've seen here in my village has a kerosene tank at the back of the house, so that's what we use to heat up the house. So for the colder months, that's what we rely on to heat up the house. Okay, and when we moved in, we filled up the tank. We didn't fill it up completely, but we bought £500 worth of kerosene, and I showed you that when the kerosene was being delivered that day, and that is what we have used for a whole year. As a matter of fact, we haven't even finished it. Okay, bear in mind, if you spread £500 over 12 months, you know what that's going to give you. That's about £41 and change for each month for kerosene. All right, and for our electric bills, we are currently paying around £60 plus for electricity. Now bear in mind, if you add 41 plus and change and the 60 plus pounds, that's going to give you around 100 something. So that's where you kind of see the differences in the prices. So we pay our electric bills to a different company while we source for our kerosene with a different company, and that gets delivered and dispensed into the tank at the back of the house. Okay, and we use that more during the winter period. I can't remember the last time we put on our radiator, the last time we heated up the house, and that's because obviously summer. But yeah, so if you compare the two, you are seeing that we're paying 100 and something here, but back in Darlington we're paying 170 something. Bear in mind that I told you that the heating of the house, the EPC was very low. The EPC was D, and the EPC here is a B. You see the difference. So when you're looking out for houses, you have to know what the EPC is. Sometimes they lie to us in Darlington. For example, when we're moving into the house, they told us the EPC was a C, but when we got in and we did our investigation, we found that it was a D. It was actually a D. All right, so sometimes they lie, or they're not up to date on the rating of the house. Electricity is way cheaper here, in my opinion. Another thing to consider is your council tax. Council tax is another rating. It has another classification because depending on the area, depending on how old the house is, depending on, you know, a couple of other factors, the house is ranked, and that is what determines how much you pay for your council tax. Bear in mind that everybody, if it's a terrace building, for example, that if you have a block of flats, which is called a terrace here in the UK, a couple of buildings joined together, and you have 4 or 5 or 10 or whatever the number is, each house might not be ranked the same way. So that's something to pay attention to. Let's talk about council tax. So council tax back in Darlington, this is where it gets tricky. In Darlington, we were in band A. Here, we are also in band A. So the council tax also, like I said, the rating is what determines how much you're going to pay. If it's a band A, you're paying the least amount that is available everywhere. If you are in band B, you are paying the second least. So you see, the lower you go, the more expensive you pay for your council tax. So back in Darlington, we were paying 170 something, 176, 174 thereabout for our council tax, and that was for a band A house. Okay. Now moving down here, when we moved, we were paying 160 something, which was not so different from what we were paying back in Darlington. But that was what we paid up until April this year. So from August last year to April this year, we were paying 160 something, and as of April to now, we've been paying 140 something. So it went down. All right, so it became less expensive. So that's you're saving about £30 and change compared to what we were paying back in Darlington. Okay, let's talk about the water bills. You see, that water bill is actually quite confusing because I don't understand the costing at all. I don't know if there is a band also for water bills. I don't know why, but back in Darlington, we were paying £28 for a while, and then it went up to £32. I think there was a time where there was an increment, and then we started paying £32 up until we left August last year. So moving down here, it became a lot more expensive, and I don't know why. We have been paying 60 something pounds, so it's really not funny. I don't find it funny at all. It's expensive like that. So you can see that it's sort of balancing out. Although I would say so far it has just been the water bill that is more expensive here than back there, and obviously the rent as well. Obviously the rent has even knocked everything else out of the park, but I digress. All right, so apart from the water bills, what other bills do we pay? So car insurance, road tax, and all of that. So all of that is different here. Obviously it's a lot cheaper here for us, because back in Darlington we used to park along the road because we're living in a terrace building, and here we have allotted parking, so that slashes down our car insurance. Yeah, that's it. So if you ask me which is cheaper, obviously you already know that it's a lot cheaper back in the city, because, well, maybe for where I am, if you look at countrysides farther away from London, obviously it might be a lot less expensive. I would say that it has its upsides, it has its downsides. If you give me half of my rent back, I'm going to be thanking you. I'll be saying a prayer for you every single day of my life. And yeah, but that is what it is. Anyway, you guys, with these few points of mine, have I been able to convince and not confuse you that it's different? It's not really the same. So I will definitely be back to talk about the things that I absolutely love about this place, and things that I do not really like about the village. And yeah, these are my opinions, by the way. What do you think? Village, city, village, city. Okay, so that's our time here on the video today. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful at all, please do want to smash that like button. It does a lot to help my analytics and also get other people to see this video. Also, don't forget to patronize US Bags, the sponsors of today's video. Get yourself some really lovely bags. Yeah, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.